Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Scrap Empire. My name is Zach Hayes, and today we're going to be talking about an important bout for this upcoming UFC Fight Night. We're going to be featuring, ladies and gentlemen, David Zawada going up against Alex Morono. Now, there's a fight on UFC Fight Pass for Alex Morono going up against an opponent by the last name of Muntarsi. Right. Now, Alex Morono has I'm not saying he looks like a farmer. Not saying that. But, paying attention to different body types, right? Paying attention to different paying attention to the way how people move, when they have a certain height. He looks like he has just natural strength. Just off of the way, like when you see the fighter when Bruce Buffer is making his introduction of each fighter. And when you see whether it's a fighter in the red or blue corner, jumping up, getting ready for this highly anticipated bout. You see Alex Morono, he a proud stance. It's a proud stance, and I can't really get in depth because it's just a proud stance. You can't explain certain stances when people show, it's just. They were just born with this stance. And my channel isn't about any type of exaggeration. My channel isn't about any type of being extra dramatic. I observe from an analyst. I analyze very carefully, and I'm very, very critical on the little details that everybody else isn't paying attention to, right? Now, of course, when Tarsi was landing those leg kicks within the first round, landing those leg kicks, just sharp leg kicks, right? Now, those are the type of leg kicks that an Edson Barboza would throw. Those are the type of leg kicks that an Anderson Silva would throw. Those are the type of leg kicks that a Conor McGregor would throw. Just those snappy leg kicks. It's snap. It's a whip behind it. And that's exactly what you need. You need that whip like a towel. You aren't supposed to push with the strike. You're supposed to, don't push. Just throw. Just don't push the punch. Just throw the punch. Because when you push the punch, you aren't able to utilize the weight of each arm. Because it only takes 4 pounds of thrust to knock somebody out, right? So you mastering how to use your body weight in an appropriate manner, especially when it comes to combat sports, really, really important. I wish more people had more of an idea. Not to say that no one else has an idea of what I'm talking about, because there's plenty of people who know what I'm talking about. But again, technique, there's nothing like foundation. There's nothing like learning basics, and there's nothing like learning technique. Now, when Tarsi kept on throwing these leg shots, kept on throwing these leg strikes, kept on throwing the leg strikes to the body, right? Kept on throwing. He also threw some strikes to the head. But transitioning to the second round, Alex Morono showed his inner strength, showed his posture, showed his demeanor with the way how he was able to throw those punches. He threw the overhand, but it was vicious. He threw the jab, right hand, and the hook, the combination, but it was vicious. He threw the shots constantly to the head, constantly to the nose, which eventually gave Muntarsi a cut, which eventually had his whole face bleeding, right? And that's when Alex Morono kept on throwing those strikes in and out the second round and even the third round, right? And Alex Morono, he now, for those who watch 1920s boxing, 1930s boxing, he kind of has that Jake LaMotta, Stanley Ketchel style. Like, it isn't slow, but he takes. I don't like making assumptions. I don't like making assumptions because who am I to tell you what you've experienced? But he fights like just coming to the ring, just in his style, just him having his hands up. He fights like a bare knuckle Irish boxer. Like the guy just is a proud bare knuckle boxer. Or he was a prize fighter in the 1930s and the 1940s, even in the 1930s. I'm talking about the Stanley Ketchels. I'm talking about the Jake LaMottas. I'm talking about the, Bob Fitzsimmons. This is the Bob Fitzsimmons posture. Just just the English style. Just keeping the left hand up, keeping the right hand tucked in, and you're throwing every goddamn punch as if your life depends on it. Right. Now, let's get started with David Zawada, the opponent that Alex Morono is going to be facing this upcoming UFC Fight Night. Let's get started with him, and let's get in depth with the fight that he had against Danny Roberts. Now, David Zawada, of course, right? He's more of a ground-based fighter. He's more of a wrestling-based fighter. Just off of the fight that I saw from David with him and Danny Roberts. He likes to be on the ground. He likes to implement different styles when he's on the ground. So, of course, anyone who knows combat sports, anyone who knows true fighting is going to give the guy his credit. He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy, and I'll give him that. But Danny Roberts, on the other hand, from a superficial aesthetic standpoint, not saying he looks the strongest, but he looks like he's in a lot of shape. So when they were on top of one another, right? Danny Roberts constantly pounding, right? Of course, he didn't do it like all the consistent. He wasn't consistently hitting David Zawada the whole entire round, but he was still able to get on top of him, right? And David Zawada, of course, there were plenty of times throughout the fight where he had ground control, right? There were plenty of times throughout the fight where David Zawada had that, ability to control the tempo, with him utilizing his ability while, to be on the ground. Him utilizing his ability to limit Danny Roberts' striking, only for a certain amount of time, though, right? Now, this is when stuff gets really interesting. Because Danny Roberts, there were also plenty of times throughout the fight, Danny Roberts was not only was he on top of David Zawada, he had him, he was attempting to submit him, and he was throwing shots. So we have to be mindful, okay? These are two strong guys. Both of them like being on the ground. So now at this point, it's really a chess match, because he's fighting your fight, you're fighting his fight. So now it's a chess match. Let's see who can play chess better at this point, right? And of course, towards the end of the third round, Danny Roberts still in control and staying on top. And I like both fighters. But, because it was such an amazing match. But, that's what's interesting about combat sports. Even if you like both fighters, there always has to be a winner and there always has to be a loser. That's just the way it is. Right? So I can't be biased towards anybody. All I can say is, may the best man win. I'm not on anyone's side. I like both of you guys. May the best man win. That's it. Right? So, I gave you an analysis of David Zawada and Danny Roberts. I also gave you an analysis of Alex Morono and Mutarsi, the opponent that he fought. Right? Who do I see winning this upcoming bout on UFC Fight Night on Saturday? Excuse me for that, a little passionate. This is really hard to answer. Because it isn't like David Zawada isn't as strong as Alex Morono. And I didn't see Alex Morono on the ground as long as David Zawada. And Muntarsi is a strong guy. He has strong kicking ability, but I didn't really see him trying to stay on the ground for a very, 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 very long time compared to David Zawada's opponent. So Alex Morono, yes, he has strength and he has good posture. I'm not going to take away the ability that I feel that David Zawada has. And even though he lost to Danny Roberts, it wasn't like that. Like, he lost but by a split decision because one judge gave it to David Zawada, another judge gave it to, first judge gave it to Zawada, second judge gave it to Roberts. And third judge gave it to Roberts again. But he still had a judge on his side. So it wasn't like the decision, it wasn't like Danny Roberts won the fight by, it wasn't like he won unanimously or the fight went to unanimous decision. No, because he didn't dominate him the entire fight. So I see David Zawada winning by decision only because I don't see Alex Morono being able to stay on the ground for a very, very long time. And it isn't like the guy David Zawada has a weak chin or anything like that, because Danny Roberts is a pretty strong guy, and he was hitting David Zawada with plenty of shots, and he didn't get knocked out. That's how I see it. I'm not saying that Alex Morono can't win. I'm always going to give any fighter the benefit of the doubt, but it's going to be up to him to prove that he's not the underdog, that he will not succumb to the doubts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Scrap Empire. Like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please leave any constructive criticism or feedback that you feel will allow me to help improve my channel. Thank you all for watching my content. It's been an honor speaking to you guys. Thank you so much. May you enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye bye, everyone. Take care.